Hi there, sweetheart, and welcome to your video for today, which is all about self-compassion. And honestly, most women struggle with this topic, so that's why I included it in the course. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about how I view self-compassion, what it is not, and how you can cultivate more of it into your life, okay? So here's how I think of self-compassion is that we all have parts of ourselves that we really like, that we are pleased to show to the world, that we think are acceptable to other people. So it's easy to respect those parts. It's easy to treat those parts kindly. Now, we all have, on the flip side, parts of ourselves that we don't like, that we judge harshly, that we wish were different, that we ignore, that we criticize, that we minimize, that we wish would just go away. So self-compassion is not just about being kind to the parts of ourselves that we already love. It's about being in relationship to all the parts of ourselves in a kind and loving way, even and especially the parts that you don't like or that you wish were different. And I promise you that you cannot bully yourself into self-compassion. I see women trying to do that all the time, where they have inner dialogue that looks like, why can't I be nicer to myself? And I need to be kinder to myself right now. And what's wrong with me? And why isn't it happening? And they're really talking to themselves like a bully. They have this inner bully. And that is not going to cultivate self-compassion. In fact, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to cultivate more self-criticism, more self-loathing. So what we need to learn how to do is to be in relationship to those parts, because when you're ignoring them, when you're discounting them, when you're blowing them off, you're not in relationship to them. It's like if you have a friendship that you don't put effort into, that you never spend any time with that person, you don't correspond with them at all, you don't include them in your life, well, they're gonna go away. They're not gonna want to be your friend anymore. So it is the same with the parts of you that you don't like. So one helpful tip is to start thinking of those as your friend, because there is a strength behind it. You just haven't found the strength yet, okay? So one thing that has been really helpful for a lot of clients is to develop what I just call a self-compassion mantra. And this is just something that you're going to say to yourself in those times where you want to beat yourself up and you want to kick the crap out of yourself and you want to criticize, you want to judge, and you want to bully yourself. You're going to pull this mantra out, you're going to write it down, and you're going to read it out loud to yourself to remind yourself, right, I am choosing self-compassion right now. And self-compassion does not look like a bully on a playground. Self-compassion looks like that kid who's coming over to the other kid who's struggling and saying, hey, I'm here and I'm going to sit with you and I'm going to hold your hand and I'm just going to be with you and next to you as long as you need me to. That's what self-compassion looks like. So your homework is to write a self-compassion mantra. And I'm going to give you an example that one of my clients used. She had a habit of when she made a mistake or did things quote unquote wrong, she would say things to herself like, God, you're so stupid and why can't you get it together and you're always screwing up and you can't do anything right. You see the bully there? Okay, so what she decided her self-compassion mantra was going to be is, oh, isn't that interesting? I just made a human mistake. I just did something very human. Look at me being human. Because that is the truth, is that we all screw up. We all do it. This is probably my, 10th recording of this video because I kept tripping over my words. So self-compassion says, oh, Candace, you know what? You're doing the best you can. It's okay. You got this. I'm here. Whereas the bully energy says, Candace, geez, you're never going to get it right. You might as well scrap this whole project because you can't ever do anything right. You're never going to be successful, which is what we do to ourselves. We do it all the time. We're so used to doing it that we don't even realize we're doing it. So her mantra was, gee, that was a really human thing to do, or look at me being human. And she used that for about a week, and she came back in and she said, you know what, I just noticed that I was so much more gentle with myself. I was so much easier with myself. And that is how your relationship with yourself is meant to be. So, homework again, what is your self-compassion mantra? And the key to this is to looking at the area in your life where you are most critical of yourself. Most of us have one. We have several, but we have one that we really get tripped up on. So what is that area for you? And then what is your self-compassion mantra? I want you to write it down in your own handwriting. I don't want you to type it. And I want you to keep it with you. You can have several copies of it. You can keep one in your pocket, one in your car, one in your desk at work, one on your mirror in the bathroom. And I want you to read it several times a day, regardless. But I also want you to read it in those moments where you notice that you're being a bully to yourself. Okay? So get to it, and I will talk to you tomorrow.